Hey everybody, Zee Garcia here, and today I'm taking a look at this strangely themed resource management game called Imaginarium. In this game, the players are working at a grand steampunk factory, and they're going to be gathering resources such as glass and copper, utilizing those resources to build machines, running those machines, smashing those machines apart sometimes, gathering friends to help you out and give you extra actions, ultimately to acquire the most victory points and win the game. Let me give you a look at how this all works together in a quick overview here, and then we'll come on back after that, and I'll tell you what I think of this one. So here's what the game might look like set up in this case for 3 players. The objective of the game is, of course, to generate the most victory points. You are going to be playing until someone gets to 20. That'll be the final round. Then you get a couple of bonuses, and whoever has the highest score is, of course, the winner of the game. So throughout the game, you are going to be taking several actions in order to do a lot of different things in the game. Each player has their playing figure here. Each player is given one of these boards. I'm just going to be showing you one there, but there are others over here that each player would have in front of them. You get some starting resources based on your board here. So for example, this player here begins with these 2 cards built, ready to go. And here along the side, it tells me that they also get 4 of this resource, which is basically money, called in this game charcoalium. So they get 4 of those. They have 1 wood resource, and they also get 1 glass resource there. So that would all be behind the screen, and then the players are off to the races. A round goes as follows, as denoted here by your player sheet, this being the front, having a lot of information on the back, all right? So your round is composed of planning is the first step, in which each player is going to pick where they would like to go on this track called the bric-a-brac. And so the yellow player, let's say they would like to take this card here. They'll place themselves on that spot. And you can take any one of those as long as you're able to pay for the resource cost, or you can go over here and extract some more of that charcoalium. So the second player is going to go to the very last spot, which is the most lucrative for making that charcoalium. This player here is going to go to, let's say, that card there. Once that's done, the planning phase is over, and you go to the implementation phase, in which the players are going to trigger all of the rest of their turns in the order set by the belt here. So whoever is first in the line is going to take all of their actions first, and at the end of that, they'll return over here to the stairs to the first empty spot for the following round. So the first thing you do is you get to use your machines. So let's say, just for the sake of our example, we're going to go ahead and switch these 2 players. That's yellow there. You get to use your machines and take whatever they produce. This one produces 1 charcoalium. That one produces 1 copper. And that's it for the production. After that, you are going to pick up the machine you reserved, or if you were over here, you would make that much charcoalium, 1, 2, or 3. The cost is the combination of the card itself, which also represents the machine's level, and the number printed on the board. So 3 plus 1, I'd have to pay 4 charcoalium here, throw that back in, and then take that card, which comes into play broken and sideways over here. These cards, by the way, would be at the bottom of this board, and you have room for 4 of them, but I'm just setting them on the side for now for ease of explanation here. So that's it for that step, which is picking up the machine or making that charcoalium. Next up, you're going to carry out 2 actions. The action wheel is this right here, and you get to point these 2 arrows, which are connected, and they always point to 2 adjacent actions. You can point to whichever 2 you would like and take those actions, all right? And I'm going to go over what they do in just 1 second. After that, you may complete projects, which are these up here, which are basically goals for the players. Have 6 machines operational, have 2 green machines, which are these defense machines, operational, have 15 charcoalium, show that, put it back behind your screen, and you qualify for this. Once a player qualifies for one of these, by the way, They would take one of their tokens, they would put it on that matching tile, and they would get a number of victory points. Once that's done, you wrap up your turn by returning to the stairs, as I said. So what are these actions? What are you doing on your turn? So over here, you've got the machine that allows you to combine things, or the step, the action that allows you to combine things. All these cards are governed by specific rules that allow for combinations. But for instance, let's say I have this card here, built previously. These two, it lets me know right there, can be combined, and so I could combine them. And now, from now on, instead of this one producing 1 Charcoalium and this one producing 1, they produce 3 together, and they take a single spot in my limited workshop space. So that's how that works. This one over here lets me buy a helper from the 3 available up here. You'll be able to have up to 3 of them, which are shown here at the top of your player board throughout the game. These give you special actions, special abilities. I'll come back to a couple of them later on. This one gives you 3 Charcoalium. This one lets you repair a machine by paying the cost here on the side, turning it right side up, and adding it to your display here, as long as you have room to do so. This one down here allows you to make transactions. You can do 3 of them. You can buy or sell the 3 resources for 1, 2, or 3 Charcoalium, or you could buy victory points for 5 Charcoalium. Again, you can do any 3 of those, buy or sell. And then this one over here, the last one, lets you destroy or dismantle a machine, and you are going to either get some resources or possibly some victory points equal to the level of the machine. You can dismantle, by the way, something that is broken for a small reward, or something that has previously been fixed for a much higher reward. And so those are all the actions you can take. So let's go back to my example here. I'm going to back up the turn. I've gone ahead and produced, so I made my resources, 1 of these. I made the copper there. Then, next step, I would purchase this, which is going to be the 4 that I already went ahead and paid. Now, and that's broken, by the way, so it comes into play sideways. Now I choose which 2 actions I want to take. And I'm going to go ahead and choose these 2 here at the bottom. And I can do them in either order. So I'm going to go to the market, then I'm going to repair a machine. One thing to note is that next turn, I must move this at least 1 step. I cannot take the exact 2 actions that I took last turn, this turn. So first thing I'll do is go to the market. I'm going to go ahead and sell glass for 3, put that back, take 3 of these. That's my first action. For my second action, I'm going to buy copper. That costs me 2. And for my last action of the possible transactions, I could take fewer than 3. I'm going to go ahead and sell this wood I've got here for 1 more Charcoalium. Now I'm going to go ahead and repair a machine. This machine lets me know on the side it takes 2 of the copper to repair. I've got 2 copper. I'll cash that in. I'll turn this right side up. And if it's a production machine such as these, it'll immediately make whatever it makes. So that's what I've got going on. Then I would see if I qualify for any of these. I certainly do not. And then my turn is over with me returning over here. This player will do the same thing. This will be gone. They would have purchased it, so on and so on. And then this player runs their machines, and for their buying action, they instead get 3 Charcoalium. And then they return. Once that's all done, the car farthest to the right here at the end gets thrown into the chomper. Everything moves along. We replenish these, and we begin a new round with the player first in line here and going around with, again, selecting. Once everyone's done that, taking all of those actions, and finally returning back over here. So let me show you a couple of these characters that you can have to help your actions get a little bit better. So for instance, this character here, you may purchase for 6 Charcoalium with this action right here. And this is going to allow you to draw 2 of these gold tiles that are out of the game and keep them privately. You may complete 1 of the 2 secretly. You still show that you made some victory points, but No one else can contend for these. And by the way, completing one of these after someone else has done so is fewer victory points. This one is going to allow you to make 5 transactions when you do that action. This one allows you to pay 3 charcoalium to buy the top card off of the deck. Comes into play broken, but you pay for it and you take whatever it may be. And there's a few different ones in here that do several different things, allow you to do more actions or buy things more cheaply, that sort of thing. This one, which is the most expensive, costs 9 charcoalium, even allows you to take any 2 actions you want for the rest of the game. You completely ignore those arrows. This is very powerful, very expensive as well. And so the game continues in this manner until someone says at the end of a round, hey, I've got 20 or more victory points. Then we compare what everyone is holding in these 4 resources. Whoever has the most of each kind gets a bonus 2 victory points. And then whoever has the most points overall is going to be the winner of the game. And that's pretty much it. The only thing I haven't really talked about too much is these machines, but basically they make your resources, any of these 4. They allow you to transmute resources by combining them sometimes, or pump something in to get something else differently. They protect you with these defense resources, so you're not stolen from. Some of them are attack cards, the red ones, and those allow you to steal things from other players one time. And there's some that are special that allow you to simply earn victory points straight up, things like that, such as this one here. You'll just be producing victory points. So that's pretty much it. That should give you an idea of how everything sort of works together. Let's go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. All right, so there it is. Let's talk about this. I'm going to start with thematic ties. I am a big fan of steampunk games, and you have to definitely like that vibe to enjoy this game, but it is certainly well themed. That theme is throughout the entire production of the game, in the actions you are taking in the game. It's everywhere. So it's ingrained into the idea. Even the mechanisms translate well, I think, to serve that theme. The aesthetics are, this is a tricky one, to be honest, because, and I don't normally like to dwell on the aesthetics as from a visual point of view, okay, because you can just look at the game and make up your own mind. There are no mechanisms for me to describe to you that might sound good or sound bad. You can just look at the game and know immediately if you like the look or not. I'm a little bit of two minds when it comes to the look of the game. I find it very original. The look is well done from a technical point of view, and it's consistent throughout the entire package. However, I've played with several players who have said they feel the artwork kind of creeps them out a little bit. And the photorealistic nature of the whole thing is a little bit creepy. It's a little quirky. It's a little strange. That's not necessarily bad. It just kind of has an acquired taste feel to the whole thing. But I mostly leave that up to you. So the components in the game, the cards are pretty good quality. Everything else is very good quality. The fact that it comes with its own tray that you put in the center of the table and holds all 4 components, that's a very nice touch. The busts that are the players' pieces are gorgeous, absolutely beautifully sculpted miniatures that are really just a marker on the board. And just everything else looks great, Now, the iconography is okay. I think some of the iconography could have been a little more clear, in my opinion. It's not bad, and after, say, 3 games, you will internalize that iconography, but it is not extremely obvious, that iconography. So again, I'm a little bit split on what to give this in the aesthetics category here. Just, I think most of it is going to come based on what you think of the look of the game. The components are good. Replayability, does the game scale well, and are there new things to discover as you are playing? The game scales very well. I even like the 2-player variant because it's not it's not tricky to understand. It does not have to do a lot of jumping through hoops to the players for you to play a two-player game that's interesting and tight. You are simply each going to get one of your discs and use that disc to block a spot on the board where your opponents can't go. It works really nicely and smoothly. And as far as the idea of discovering new things, I think it's very much there. This game has a lot of depth. Every play of, I would say, the first 3, 4, 5 plays, you are going to be seeing new ways that you could possibly win, right? Do you just generate a lot of resources, buy the things, build them, then smash them for victory points? You could do that. Do you just go for those goals? Yeah, you could do just that. Though you should certainly, no matter what you're doing, not ignore those goals, okay? Do you try to get 3 assistants that work well together early in the game and utilize them a lot? Yeah, that's a good idea too. You know, what you do when you do it, which actions you prioritize on the wheel. If you find a way to have a couple of actions that are next to each other synergize as well, that's also going to go a long way towards, netting you some victory points. So there's a lot here to be discovered, really. Game length. Does the game stay interesting the whole time? Is it repetitive? The game, especially with fewer players, I would say does not feel long, but it does feel slow to sort of get going, to ramp up. The game has a very slow beginning where in your head you got to get to 20 victory points, and after, let's say, 4 rounds of taking actions, you might just be starting to generate a victory point here, 2 victory points there, And then that will ramp up a bit, but it is certainly a slow, a little bit ponderous kind of game. There's also fairly long turns, especially while you're still learning the game. Because once it is your turn to go, you are going through all those steps of generating, buying the thing, deciding what your 2 actions are, implementing those actions, deciding if you qualify for one of the goals or several of them. So it does have a little bit of downtime and a slow beginning. Ease of play. Is the game easy to play? Is it easy to get into? I would say yes, except for the iconography and the figuring out how you combine machines. That's tricky. That's going to take a couple of plays to sort of really put together in your head. The biggest hurdle is some machines, the ones that transmute, I think they call it, something into something else. You can combine those with themselves, and then you can pay a resource to transmute a bigger quantity, or you can combine them with the production buildings, but you can't do both at the same time. That's all a little bit tricky. They do a good job, I think, of trying to explain it. It's not that it's sloppily explained. It's just tricky. So that's my biggest issue. The other stuff is, for the most part, straightforward. And then lastly, tactics and strategy, luck, things like that. This game has a solid amount of strategy, I would say. You do want to pick a plan. You want to try to stick to that plan. You want to pick your goal, accomplish it, have a second goal ready to go, hopefully a couple of them that dovetail into each other. You want to plan ahead because you are going to, once those points start being generated, if you start falling behind, you're going to be in trouble playing catch-up if you decide to jump from one foot to the other and switch up your strategy if you haven't been building it up. I like that. There are tactics too, certainly. You want to be reacting to what's going on, what shows up on the track, and so forth. But strategy here is key, I would say. So this is, overall, a game that I wouldn't say is heavy. It's a medium weight sort of resource management game with a quirky theme, a strange, I would say bizarre look, but a lot under the hood. This is an interesting, engaging game. I find it to be the kind of game I don't normally enjoy. Sort of pushing cubes around, 2 of this and 1 of that. You turn that in for 1 of these. It avoids, for me, giving me that feeling of just turning gears, of just pushing stuff around on a board, because of the clever powers of the assistants, the interesting ways that the machines work together. your choices, your strategy, and how you pursue all of that. So good stuff from me. This one is going to get a seal of approval. I recommend it if you are someone who is patient with games, finds the look appealing, and you enjoy this style of game. You enjoy a game that is going to be a little bit slower to build up, but is going to be rewarding to learn and get into, and has varying paths to victory. So again, seal of approval for this one, Imaginarium. I'm Zee Garcia. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.